This lesson is 1.3C4. Here we have an example. Sine squared x all over x. Now this square right here is technically, there are two sine x. One more time. This square right here means there are two sine x. Okay, so there's one and there's two. Okay, so one more time. This square means that there are two of the sine x. So separate this. So one more time, squared. So separate them into 1, 2, because there are two of these. So that's where we put the square is. Okay, so because there are two of these. Again, one more time. This square means there are two sine x. So here's 1 and here's 2. Okay, so separate them. Okay, so separate them. So this is what I have. So imagine again, there's always a 1. There's always a 1. Okay, so separate them. So x times 1 is technically x. Okay, so again, square, there's 1, there's 2. X times 1 is x. So x times 1 is x. So make sure, again, know how to recognize and separate them. Again, there's always a 1. Okay, there's always a 1. Okay, now separate it into parts. So sine x over x, first part. Sine x over 1 is the second part. Okay, so one more time. This right here where I am circling is the first part. This where I am circling is the second part. Okay, again, the 1 is always there. So be very, very careful. Now the last lesson or video, this right here, sine x over x is always equal to 1. Sine x over x is always equal to 1. So sine x divided by 1 is just sine x. 1 times sine x is just sine x. Okay, now plug in the 0, put 0 in. Make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Make sure your calculator is in degree mode. So sine 0 or 0 sine depends on your calculator. There's only two options to input, either sine 0 or 0 sine. Okay, again, make sure it is in degree mode, and the answer came out to be 0. Okay, so this is the answer to this problem. This is the answer to this problem. But how do we get there? Make sure you separate them. Okay, again, make sure you separate them. This is a square, so I have 1, 2. We know that x times 1 is just x. So separate them. Again, 1 is always there. So separate this, separate that, which is on the left. Separate this, which is on the right. This right here is always 1. And then sine divided by 1 is just sine. 1 times sine is sine x. Plug in 0. Make sure it is in degree mode. Okay. So sine 0, which is 0. So this is the answer to this. Okay. So this is the lesson for 1.3C4 and all the other homework in this lesson.